A single housemaid named Amy slapped her boss after he kissed her in front of guests. She was about to resign, but the man threatened to have her jailed because she hadn't yet settled her debt, a debt sealed by a kiss. "Oh my God, I'm about to see Mr. Stephen's gorgeous face again," Ava exclaimed in excitement while she and Amy were washing dishes together. "I swear, my panties might drop again the moment I lay eyes on his handsome face," she added. Bella smirked and chimed in. "Right? There's going to be someone sleeping in wet sheets again tonight. Real magic, girl." Nick butted in. "Amy, what can you say about Mrs. Sophia's son coming home? Aren't you curious about his looks?" Ava turned to Amy and stared at her. "You haven't seen Mr. Stephen in person because you're new here, just a year on the job, and only now is he coming home again. I'm sure you'd be more than willing to open wide when you see how he looks." Ava cackled. They all burst out laughing, giving each other high fives. Apparently, these single housemaids had a thing for Mrs. Sophia's only son, Mr. Stephen. They were constantly talking about him, and every time their minds wandered into naughty territory, they'd giggle and tease each other. Amy had never seen Mr. Stephen in person, though she had seen pictures of him. He really was handsome, so she understood why the single maids in the house would go crazy over him. "You know why he's coming home?" Ava went on, chatting with Amy while they were rinsing the dishes. "Rumor says Mr. Stephen's engagement to his fiancée, Athena, isn't pushing through anymore, meaning he's single again." "That's hot news," Ava squealed, turning to Bella, then looking at Amy. "Mr. Stephen's throwing a party when he gets back. Will you be there?" she asked Amy. Amy shook her head. "I already asked Miss Tonya if I could skip it. I have to be with my kid." "Oh right, I always forget you have a daughter. You look so young I can't believe you're a mum," Ava said. Amy said nothing more and continued what she was doing. Yes, she was a single mother at 18. She got pregnant because of her own carelessness. To this day, she didn't even know who the father was, nor did she care to find out. All she remembered was that he'd been a customer at a bar where she'd worked. They both drank too much, and the inevitable happened. Although it was a mistake, she had never regretted having her child. She embraced her daughter wholeheartedly. Now that Amy was 25, she might not have had much money, but she was happy living with her 7-year-old daughter, and she had no plans of seeking anyone to help raise her. She could do it on her own. "Mr. Stephen just arrived," Ms. Tonya, the head housekeeper, announced. All the housemaids gathered in one room because Ms. Tonya had something to discuss related to tonight's party. "All of you, make sure everything is perfect for his homecoming. Serve him and his guests well. Don't act foolish, it'll be embarrassing," Ms. Tonya said sternly. "Don't worry, Ms. Tonya," Ava replied, practically squirming in excitement by Amy's side. "We've got this." Ms. Tonya glanced at Amy. "You, Amy, since you're not working tonight, you're the one who'll bring Mr. Stephen's dinner up to his room." Amy was stunned. Ms. Tonya, Ava can do that." Ava eagerly cut in. "Yes, Ms. Tonya, I volunteer." "Silence, Ava. Control that mouth of yours," Ms. Tonya scolded, shutting Ava up quickly. Then she turned again to Amy. "You're the one I'm telling to do it. Once you've brought Mr. Stephen his dinner, you can go home." Amy nodded once she'd recovered from her surprise. "All right, Ms. Tonya." Ava pouted. "Lucky you," she muttered. Amy sighed, left the room, and began to prepare the tray she would bring upstairs. She felt anxious because she'd never met Mr. Stephen in person. All she knew was that he was ruthless. She'd heard from the other housemaids that everyone's knees shook whenever he yelled at someone, because others would get dragged into the trouble too. Soon enough, Amy was on her way up the second-floor staircase, carefully carrying the tray. At his bedroom door, she took a deep breath and knocked 3 times. "Good afternoon, Mr. Stephen. Your dinner is here." No response. She knocked again. Sir, I'm coming in, okay? I'm just going to drop off your food." She turned the doorknob and pushed the door open. It was dim inside because the curtains were still drawn, and the place felt chilly. "Sir, here's your dinner," she said, stepping softly to avoid making any noise. She set the tray on the table, adjusting it so it would look presentable when he saw it. She glanced around, but there was no sign of Mr. Stephen on the bed. She only saw some clothes he had apparently taken off. Just then, the bathroom door opened. Out came Mr. Stephen, towel drying his hair. He was indeed as handsome as the other maids described, especially now, fresh out of the shower. Sir, you're—" Amy trailed off, accidentally letting her eyes drift downward. She stumbled backward at the sight. Oh my God, she saw it. His gun. "Like what you see?" Mr. Stephen asked in a teasing tone, heart pounding. Amy gasped. Why is he completely naked?" She couldn't keep herself from staring. She could see everything, as if his body were aiming right at her, ready to fire. She quickly covered her face with her hands and turned around, cheeks burning and heart racing. "Sorry, sir. I swear I didn't see anything." Amy shut her eyes tight, trying to erase what she had just witnessed. She'd only seen Mr. Stephen for the first time, and this was the sight that greeted her. Her mind started filling with all sorts of ideas she didn't want to have. "Really?" he said, in a mock-serious tone. "I never imagined Mama's new housemaid would be a peeping Tom." Amy's ears burned at that remark. She dropped her hands from her eyes and turned to face him. "I wasn't peeping. Why were you naked anyway? What if I hadn't come in and someone else had? That could ruin your reputation, sir." He smirked, then secured the towel around his waist, covering the gun that had been so proudly on display just moments earlier. "It's not my fault. This is my room," he said. "Anyway, I know you liked what you saw." Amy made a face. "No, sir, I did not," she snapped. She gestured toward the food. "Please eat before it gets cold. I'll leave now." She spun around, ready to hurry to the door, but he spoke again. "What's your name?" he asked. A cold wave of nervousness washed over her. He approached, blocking the door so she couldn't escape. When she looked up at him, he was gazing at her intently. My name? You don't need to know, sir. I won't tell anyone about what I saw," Amy said in a rush. "I don't want to lose my job." "I want your name. Tell me," he insisted in a serious voice. What would he do once he knew her name? Amy's heart hammered. Ava," she blurted, naming her friend because of sheer panic. "My name is Ava, sir." He seemed unconvinced, but she went on. "I'm leaving now, Mr. Stephen. Don't worry. I won't tell a soul you strut around naked in your room." She yanked open the door. He had no choice but to move aside, letting her leave. When she shut the door, she finally exhaled in relief. Meanwhile, in his room, Mr. Stephen stared long at the untouched dinner. The housemaid, who had just lied about her name, had delivered. "Ava," he muttered to himself. "She acted so startled, but not once did she look at me the way everyone else does." He remembered the shock in her eyes. She definitely wasn't like other women who would throw themselves at him. He was still thinking of the new housemaid when Ms. Tonya walked in with extra blankets. "Mr. Stephen, good afternoon," she greeted him, glancing at the tray. "Is something wrong with your meal? You haven't touched it. It might get cold." "Ms. Tonya, how many housemaids do we have now?" he asked, ignoring the question about the food. "We have a lot, sir, ever since you chose to stay in the city," Ms. Tonya replied. "Your mother, Mrs. Sophia, brought in more staff, so yes, we're quite a few now." He fixed her with a calm stare. "I'll be staying at my mother's house for now, working at the office here. I want my own personal maid," he announced. Ms. Tonya blinked. "You want me to post a job ad?" He shook his head. "No, hire from within. One of the existing housemaids." A slight smirk appeared on his face. "Bring me that woman, Ava." Ms. Tonya's eyes widened. "Are you sure, sir? Ava? She's, Yes, bring her here," he repeated firmly. "I want to talk to her again." Ms. Tonya still looked skeptical, but eventually nodded and set the blankets on his bed. "All right, Mr. Stephen, I'll send Ava up," she told him before stepping out, leaving him with a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. He hadn't been back to his mother's estate in a long time. He was planning to stay for a while, needing a distraction from the betrayal by Athena, his ex-fiancée. He knew his mother was equally disappointed with Athena, so she'd urged him to come home. Now that he was here, he was determined to find something, or someone, to amuse him and help him forget. Minutes later, the bedroom door opened. In came a woman with short hair, smiling widely, cheeks flushed a bright red. "Mr. Stephen, you asked for me?" she said sweetly, tucking her hair behind her ear. "What can I do for you?" He scowled. "Who are you? I didn't ask for you." She looked confused. "But Ms. Tonya said you wanted to see me." He narrowed his eyes. "Your name is Ava?" Her face lit up. "Yes, sir, that's me. Wow, I'm surprised you remember me." He clenched his jaw, letting out a cold laugh. "So the other one lied," he said, under his breath. "Ava, huh? All right then," he continued, turning to the untouched dinner. "Ava, take this food away. I lost my appetite thanks to the housemaid who delivered it." Ava's jaw dropped. "Huh? Joy? You mean Amy? Did she do something to you, sir? She's my friend, but I can't believe she'd do anything wrong." Mr. Stephen smirked. "She spied on me," he declared. Ava's mouth hung open. "Why would she spy on you, sir? And anyway, my friend wouldn't do that. She has a kid. She's not into guys at all." Mr. Stephen rubbed his temples, waving her off. "I'm done explaining. Take it away, Ava." She sighed and started gathering the plates. "All right, sir. I'll take it to the kitchen." He hardly listened as she left. So her real name is Amy, he thought. She dared lie to me about her name. Later, at her home, Amy hugged her daughter while helping the little girl with homework. She was grateful for every moment they had together because her job kept her away most of the time. Her mother, Mrs. Joyce, usually took care of her child. "Mom," her daughter Stacy said, "I got a perfect score in math class today. I was the only one who got a perfect score." Amy beamed and hugged her daughter tighter. "That's my girl. I'm so proud of you." Her mum arrived with a glass of milk for Stacy, setting it on the coffee table. "You know, Amy, she definitely didn't get that math genius gene from you," her mom teased. "You always barely scraped by with a 75, and you once answered 1 + 1 = 11. Amy made a face. "Hey, at least Stacy's got the brains, right?" She turned to her daughter. "I'm so happy for you, baby. You're always at the top of your class." Stacy perked up. "Tomorrow's Saturday. Can we go out, Mom?" Amy was about to reply when her phone rang. She picked it up from the table and saw Ms. Tonya's number. Amy walked a few steps away from her daughter. "Hello, Ms. Tonya. Good evening." "Good evening, Amy. Where are you right now?" Amy glanced at Stacy. "I'm at home with my daughter. Why? What's wrong?" Ms. Tonya sighed. "I'm so sorry to bother you, but Mr. Stephen is furious, demanding all housemaids on deck tonight. He's threatening to fire anyone who doesn't show up. I know it's your night off, but I was hoping you could come. He's in a mood. I don't want you to lose your job." Amy winced. "But I know, Ms. Tonya said. "But please come. He's checking everyone one by one." Before Amy could say another word, Ms. Tonya ended the call. Her mother looked worried. "Is there a problem, honey?" Amy sighed. "Yes, Ma, I have to go back to the estate. Mr. Stephen's on a rampage. I can't afford to lose this job." Stacy's face fell. "Mom, it's so late. You have to work again." Amy hugged her. "I'm sorry, sweetie. I'll make it up to you, I promise." She kissed her daughter's forehead, then left for Mrs. Sophia's house. When she got there, the party was in full swing. Loud music blasted, and guests drank around the pool. Ava rushed up to Amy. "Oh, thank goodness you're here. Ms. Tonya probably called you. Mr. Stephen is so angry because we're short on staff tonight." Amy sighed. "But you have so many housemaids. 1 or 2 people missing shouldn't matter. Try telling him that. Mrs. Sophia's not around, so he's completely in charge. Poor Ms. Louise was supposed to go to her granddaughter's birthday, but she had to work too. I hope her granddaughter doesn't get too upset," Amy murmured. The music pounded so loudly they had to speak up just to hear each other. The party felt more like a wild club night than a refined event. Women lounged around the pool in skimpy swimsuits, some sitting with Mr. Stephen on the lounge chairs. Amy gathered empty glasses onto a tray and planned to walk away to the kitchen. Unfortunately, one of the guests, an obviously tipsy woman, stumbled right into her, causing juice to spill on the woman's swimwear. "Oh my gosh!" the woman screeched, glaring at Amy. "What have you done?" Amy blinked. I'm sorry, you bumped into me." "Are you blaming me for your clumsiness?" The woman scowled and eyed Amy from head to toe. "You did that on purpose, didn't you? You're just the help here." Amy opted to ignore the insults and tried to move past the woman. Furious at being disregarded, the woman yanked Amy's hair from behind. "Ah, that hurts!" Amy protested. "Let go of me. I'm just a housemaid. Please calm down." The woman was livid. "Don't you ever turn your back on me." Then she dragged Amy to the edge of the pool. Before Amy realized what was happening, the woman shoved her into the water, tray and all. Amy couldn't swim. She flailed, sinking under as she tried to keep her head above water, but the weight of the tray pulled her down. Suddenly, strong arms encircled her waist, lifting her. She gasped for air, clinging to her rescuer's shoulders. Once her vision cleared, she realized who had saved her. Mr. Stephen. "What are you doing?" shrieked the woman who had pushed Amy. "You weren't supposed to jump in after the maid." Amy tried to free herself, but Mr. Stephen held her close. "Sir, thank you for saving me," she whispered breathlessly. He didn't let go. "That's right, Amy, or should I say, Ava," he said sarcastically. "Tonight you're my job." She stiffened. "I have actual work to do, sir. I appreciate what you did, but I have to." "You don't have any other work. From now on, I'm your work," Mr. Stephen said flatly. The woman who had shoved Amy was practically snarling. "Stephen, just leave that maid alone. Let's keep partying." He looked at her coldly. "I am enjoying the party," he said, "especially since I'm with Miss Amy right now." A chill rippled down Amy's spine. He'd discovered she'd lied about her name. She tried to break away once more. I'm getting out of the pool," she managed, "and I have things to—" She never finished her sentence because he leaned in and pressed his mouth to hers. Gasps sounded all around them. In utter shock, Amy's hand automatically reacted. She slapped him as hard as she could. The impact was so loud, everyone nearby fell silent. She quickly turned away and waded to the pool steps. She climbed out, dripping wet, straightened her uniform, and left as though nothing had happened. That night, Amy couldn't sleep. She kept remembering the feel of Mr. Stevens' kiss. She had no idea how she'd face him again, especially after slapping him like that. "What is he up to?" she murmured in the dark. "He's acting so bizarre. It's not like I told anyone about seeing him naked, so why is he tormenting me?" By morning, she was still groggy from lack of sleep. Her mother noticed. "Honey, you've been spaced out since last night," she said, handing Amy a cup of coffee. "Something happened at work." Amy just bit her lip. She dreaded stepping foot in the estate. Surely everyone there already knew about the kiss and the slap. She worried they would blame her. Maybe she should just resign. But how could she pay the debt she owed Mrs. Sophia then? Her phone buzzed. She saw it was Ms. Tonya again. She hesitated, but answered. "Amy, where are you?" Ms. Tonya asked. "I'm at home," she said, glancing at the clock. It was already 9 in the morning. "Listen carefully. Mr. Stephen has a fever. He refuses any medical treatment unless you're the one treating him." Amy's brows shot up. "What? Why me?" "I have no idea, but that's what he's demanding. Please come right away and see if you can convince him to take some medicine." Before Amy could reply, Ms. Tonya ended the call. Amy stared at her phone, shoulders slumping. She had no choice. When Amy arrived at the mansion, Ava greeted her with excitement. "Girl, you're so lucky. Mr. Stephen wants you personally. Maybe you really did see something when you brought him dinner last time, huh?" Amy waved her off. "I saw nothing." Sure, Ava teased. "Anyway, Ms. Tonya is waiting for you. Mr. Stephen's in a bad mood." Amy sighed and headed upstairs to his room, heart pounding the whole way. She could still feel the ghost of his lips on hers. She knocked and opened the door. "Mr. Stephen, I brought your medicine." He was propped up in bed, and, upon seeing her, gestured for her to come over. "Come here," he said. "You're the reason I'm running a fever. That slap of yours really packed a punch." "I'm sorry, sir," Amy said softly, "but you kissed me without asking, so I reacted." He eyed her. "Did you hate the kiss?" Amy steadied herself. "I'm here to do my job. I have a child, Mr. Stephen. I'm not here to—" He cut her off, annoyance flitting across his features. "I'm being serious. I want you here with me. Bring the medicine." She sighed. "Sir, I'm not a nurse, and anyway, this is my last day. I'm quitting." She set the medicine on the bedside table and turned to go. "That's not how it works, Amy. You have a debt to my mother. Are you planning to run off without paying it?" he asked in a low voice. She spun back, her face draining of color. He got out of bed and walked toward her. "If you want to leave, settle your entire debt in full. If you can't, I'll have you thrown in jail. You know my mother has done that before to people who tried to bail on their debts." Tears pricked at Amy's eyes. "Why are you doing this to me?" He stared at her mouth, slowly licking his lips. "I have an offer for you, Amy. Become my personal maid. I won't make your life difficult, and I'll take big chunks off your debt every time you agree. Kiss me." She froze. "What?" He explained. "Every kiss you give me knocks $5,000 off your debt. If you owe $10,000 total, that means you'll have to give me 2,000 kisses." Simple math. Amy couldn't speak. Was he insane? "Decide," he said, letting go of her chin. "Agree or end up in prison. It's up to you." Amy clenched her fists. All she could think of was her daughter. She would do anything to avoid jail. "Fine," she muttered. "I'll do it." He smiled triumphantly and immediately pulled her in for a kiss. She shut her eyes and forced herself to respond, her heart pounding. Days turned into weeks. Amy became Mr. Stephen's personal maid. Some of the other housemaids envied her because her job seemed lighter. She barely did regular chores, and Mr. Stephen gave her freedom to see her daughter whenever she needed. The trade-off was simple. Whenever he felt like it, he'd demand a kiss, and each kiss chipped away at her debt. Because Mr. Stephen was so happy, he rarely got mad at the staff these days. "See how lucky you are?" Ava teased Amy one morning while they were arranging fresh flowers in vases. Bella was dusting a vase nearby. "Right?" Bella said. "If that were me, I'd be swooning every time. I'd dream about him every night." Amy blushed. They had no idea how complicated her situation actually was. Ava stopped to stare at Amy's mouth. "Wait, your lip is swollen. What happened?" Bella noticed it too. "Yeah, it looks like it's been... Well, it's pretty puffy. Did something bite you?" Amy clapped a hand over her mouth. "I ate something spicy last night, and it must have had a bug in it or something." She bluffed. Before they could pry further, Mr. Stephen came down the staircase. Bella and Ava greeted him. "Good morning, Mr. Stephen," Bella said brightly. He nodded. "Morning." Then he turned to Amy. "Come with me," he ordered. Amy's eyes widened. "Where, sir?" He didn't answer. just motioned for her to hurry. Outside, he took the car keys from a driver and opened the passenger door. Sir, you don't need to do that, Amy said awkwardly. He flashed her a knowing grin. Why not? I'm being a gentleman. Get in. She had no choice but to climb in. He leaned over, securing her seatbelt for her. For safety, baby, he said, brushing a quick kiss on her hand before shutting the door. He walked around to the driver's seat and pulled away from the mansion. Amy felt her heart drumming in her chest. Where are we going, sir? She asked quietly. On a date, he answered casually. She nearly jumped. A date? But I'm your housemaid, he shrugged. Not just any housemaid. I'm giving you special treatment. He reached over and laced his fingers with hers. I'm in a good mood. Don't spoil it. He parked at a busy mall. Amy stayed put, unsure what to do next, until he handed her a paper bag from the back seat. He set it on her lap. Put that on, he said. I'll step out while you change. She peeked inside. It was a short red dress, plus a pair of white flats. Here in the car, she stammered. I'll be exposed. He laughed. It's tinted. You'll be fine. I won't peek, he teased, leaning in for a quick kiss on her cheek. Then he got out, giving her some space. Amy changed as quickly as she could, face burning the whole time. When she emerged, she tugged at the hem of the dress, which was tighter and shorter than anything she'd ever worn. Isn't there something less revealing? She asked nervously. Where are we going anyway? He slipped an arm around her waist. Don't worry, you look great. Now come on. They entered an upscale restaurant inside the mall, one she'd never dreamed of visiting. A polite waiter ushered them to a table, and Mr. Stephen pulled out a chair for Amy before sitting down himself. She felt out of place. Sir, shouldn't you be celebrating with your employees if your company's doing well? He smirked, taking her hand. I wanted to celebrate with you. I'm grateful for your motivation. Amy bit her lip. I think your success is mostly your own doing, Mr. Stephen. He raised an eyebrow. Stop calling me, sir. We're on a date. She hesitated. Do you actually like me? He leaned back. What if I do? Does it matter if you're a housemaid or a single mum? Doesn't to me. She tried pulling her hand away, but he tightened his hold. I like you, Amy, since the moment you slapped me, honestly. He added, with a wry smile. You're different, and those kisses? They run around in my head every night. Amy's cheeks warmed. I have a daughter, he shrugged. So what? That doesn't make you any less of a woman. He gave her hand another squeeze. I want to meet your daughter. She gaped at him. You do? Is that all right? He asked, softening his voice. She nodded slowly. I guess. My daughter actually wants to thank you for letting me have time off to be with her. He brightened at that. Great, I'd love to see her soon. The waiter came and Mr. Stephen ordered. Amy noticed everything was expensive. She swallowed hard, but he insisted on paying. Afterward, they went to watch a romantic comedy in the mall cinema. Amy had a blast, laughing so hard that she kept exclaiming how great the lead actress was. When they walked out, he was holding her hand, listening to her chatter about the film. That was so hilarious, she said. Next time, if I can afford it, I'll bring my daughter. She'd love it. Sorry, Amy mumbled. I had to skip work because it was the school's second quarter recognition ceremony for my daughter. He nodded. I know. Now give me at least an hour of kisses. Her jaw dropped. An hour? What? Are you trying to wear out my lips? Amy, are you in here? Came Ava's voice from just outside the door. Amy panicked and tried to pull away from Stephen's embrace, but he was quicker. He yanked her into the bathroom and shut the door. Just as Ava's footsteps approached, Stephen pinned Amy gently against the tile wall and kissed her hard. They could hear Ava's voice inside the room, but neither Stephen nor Amy stopped. Desire overwhelmed them. Amy heard Ava's friend Bella say, She's not here, Ava. Let's go. Mr. Stephen might catch us snooping. Come on. By the time their voices faded, Amy finally pushed Stephen away, both of them panting. She fixed her uniform, cheeks flushed. He tried to pull her close again. Hey! Later, Stephen, Amy insisted, dodging him. I still have chores. She made for the door, but he grabbed her arm. When will you introduce me to your daughter? I already bought something for her, he said. I think she'd like it. Amy saw the hopeful expression in his eyes. You really want to meet her? Stephen nodded eagerly. Yes. Fine. This weekend I promise to take her somewhere fun. You can come along. A broad grin lit his face. You promise? She smiled back. Yes, I promise. But for now, please let me work. Stephen exhaled and released her. Go, he said with a playful wave. Amy hurried out of the bathroom to get back to her chores. Days later, news spread through the house. Mrs. Sophia was returning from her long vacation abroad, and she was bringing a special guest. Everyone scrambled to prepare the entire estate. The kitchen staff raced to plan a lavish welcome dinner, and Ms. Tonya clapped her hands loudly. "Move faster, everyone. Mrs. Sophia is arriving tonight, and I don't think anyone wants her to erupt like a dragon on her first day back." From across the garden, Ava whispered to Bella and Amy. "So, the real boss is coming home. It won't be Mr. Stephen anymore." Bella sighed. "If only Mr. Stephen had a separate place, we could all apply to work there instead." Amy laughed tiredly. "I can't do that. I still owe them money." "Oh, right," Bella said. "But I'm sure you'll pay it off. You're tough like that." They all went silent when evening fell, and Mrs. Sophia's car arrived. Everyone lined up in the entrance hall to greet her. Stephen stood by the door. "Good evening, Mrs. Sophia." "Good evening, ma'am," the staff said in unison, noticing the attractive young woman standing beside Mrs. Sophia. Ava elbowed Amy. "Wow, that lady's gorgeous." Bella nodded. "I bet she's the new fiancée for Mr. Stephen." Ava sighed. "Makes sense. She's rich, classy, definitely the kind of woman for him." Amy felt a sharp pang in her chest, but lowered her head and tried to ignore it. In the living room, Mrs. Sophia introduced her guest, Elizabeth, the daughter of one of her close friends from the States. Mrs. Sophia gave Stephen a pointed look, expecting him to chat with Elizabeth, but Stephen was distracted, clearly searching for Amy. Mrs. Sophia snapped her fingers at him. "Son, Elizabeth is right here. Get to know her." Stephen sighed, turning to Elizabeth with a polite but distant smile. He muttered, "Yeah, hi," but kept glancing around. Mrs. Sophia cut him off. "Listen, you're not getting any younger, Stephen. That's why Elizabeth came here, to see you. Don't waste this opportunity." Stephen exhaled, scanning the hallway until he spotted Amy entering the kitchen with a tray of food, her friends behind her. Without warning, Mrs. Sophia called out, "Amy!" Amy froze and looked at her. She and the other maids approached, placing dishes on the table. "Has the guest room been prepared?" Mrs. Sophia asked Amy. "Yes, ma'am," Amy replied in a quiet voice. Stephen, not caring about Elizabeth or anyone else, strode forward and grabbed Amy's wrist. Everyone gawked at this, including Amy's startled friends. Mrs. Sophia frowned. "What are you doing, Stephen? Why are you holding on to a housemaid like that?" Stephen turned to face his mother. "I'm doing this because there's already someone who owns my heart." Silence fell across the entire room. Mrs. Sophia rose to her feet. "Stephen, what are you saying?" Without letting go of Amy, he interlaced their fingers. "I'm not marrying anyone you pick out, Mom, because I'm already in love with Amy. She's the one I want to be with." Ava and Bella gasped, while Amy stood there looking pale. Mrs. Sophia's voice trembled with anger. "Did I hear you right? I come home to discover you're involved with a housemaid? You disappoint me again." She tried to lunge at Amy, but Stephen blocked her. "Mother, please, don't blame her. If you need to be mad at me. Don't take it out on Amy," Mrs. Sophia glowered. "And this woman, she owes our family money. She has a child with no father in sight. Why would you stoop so low, my son?" Stephen's hands curled into fists. "I'll pay off her debt. I'll do anything. I'm not backing down. This is my decision." Mrs. Sophia's face turned red with frustration. "This is ridiculous. Elizabeth, let's go," she said, turning to the stunned guest. But Stephen seized the moment to pull Amy away, out of the house. "Stephen," she tried to protest, but he didn't stop until they reached the side garden, where there was nobody but the estate gardener far in the corner. He finally let go of her wrist and turned to face her. He spoke quickly. "Don't worry about that woman, Elizabeth. I have no interest in her." Amy met his gaze. "She's beautiful. Why wouldn't you just give her a chance?" Stephen laughed sarcastically. "Why would I, when the person I'm in love with is you?" He grasped her hands, which were trembling. "I'm sorry we started on the wrong foot months ago, but I'm serious about you. All those days with you, even if it began with that silly debt arrangement, those were the happiest days of my life." She tried to pull away. "Stephen, you saw how your mom reacted. She doesn't approve of me." He tightened his grip. "I approve of you. That's what matters to me now. I won't let her control this anymore." Amy's eyes filled with tears. "But I'm just a single mother who works for your family. Your mom has a point." Stephen shook his head. "Stop putting yourself down. We're not talking about class or money or what anyone thinks. I want to know how you feel about me. Am I the only one who feels this way?" His voice faltered. "If you don't feel the same, then that's it." She lowered her gaze. "You're not hard to like, Stephen. You drove me crazy sometimes, but you also have a good heart. He looked worried she might reject him, but then she said it. "I love you too." A wave of relief washed across his face. "You do?" Amy nodded, blinking back tears. Yes, even though part of me knew it would be so complicated. Stephen gave a laugh that was half sob. You don't have to apologize for loving me. You have no idea how happy you just made me. He pulled her into a fierce hug. Let me meet your daughter soon. Don't worry about what my mum wants. I'm done being controlled. You belong with me now. Amy took off work the next day, unable to face Mrs. Sophia's wrath or the housemaid's gossip. She didn't expect Stephen to drag her in front of everyone like that. She wasn't even officially his girlfriend, though their feelings were mutual. She decided to just focus on her daughter, Stacy, and promised they would spend the upcoming Saturday together. On Saturday morning, Amy helped Stacy get dressed. Mum, is your boss scary? Stacy asked while looking in the mirror. I wrote him a letter. I'm too shy to say thank you in person, so I wrote it down instead. Amy smiled. That's really sweet, honey. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. They were ready 2 hours before the agreed time. Stacy was that excited. But before they could leave, Amy's phone rang. The number was unknown. She answered hesitantly. Hello? A cold voice greeted her. Hello, Amy. This is Mrs. Sophia. Amy's pulse sped up. Mrs. Sophia? Why are you calling? We need to talk, woman to woman, Mrs. Sophia said curtly. Meet me in person, alone. I'm sending you the address of the restaurant. You'd better come right now if you don't want trouble. Don't make me wait. She hung up abruptly. Amy stood there, phone in hand, feeling sick. Mrs. Joyce noticed. Amy, you look pale. Where are you going? Amy swallowed hard. Ma, I have to head out for a bit. I'll be right back. She turned to Stacy. Baby, I'm sorry, but I have to go for a moment. I promise I'll be quick. Stacy's face crumpled in disappointment. Okay, Mom, you'll come back, right? Amy forced a smile. Of course, sweetie. She kissed Stacy's forehead, then left. At the restaurant, Mrs. Sophia had reserved a private room. As soon as Amy entered, Mrs. Sophia gave her a contemptuous stare. Sit. Amy did as told. She expected harsh words, but the older woman cut right to the chase. I'm sure you know why I called you here, Mrs. Sophia said, folding her arms. It's because of my son. Amy clenched her fists under the table. Mrs. Sophia studied her. You're a pretty woman, Amy. I'll give you that. I'm sure plenty of wealthy men might take a chance on you. But not my son. You don't belong with him. You're a single mum with no real education or money. You owe me a debt you can't repay, yet you still find time to seduce Stephen? Have you no shame? Amy's jaw tightened. I'm not seducing him, Mrs. Sophia. We both... The older woman laughed mockingly. You can't seriously believe my son loves you. He's just lonely, looking for someone new. If you're in this for money, I can pay you right here and now if you leave him alone. Amy shook her head. You can't buy me off. Stephen told me himself that he loves me. Mrs. Sophia's eyes blazed. Don't fool yourself. How could you possibly be sure you're worth all this trouble to him? I've been gone for a few months, and you've already slithered your way into his life. Don't you dare lecture me about love. If I say you're not right for him, that's final. No matter what you both claim, he'll choose me in the end. His mother. She reached into her purse and slapped a huge stack of bills across Amy's cheek, sending loose money fluttering onto the table and floor. Take that, Mrs. Sophia hissed. Leave my son alone if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, well, I have plenty of ways to make you regret it. With that, she stormed out, leaving Amy stunned, surrounded by money scattered across her lap and the floor. Only after Mrs. Sophia's footsteps faded did tears spill from Amy's eyes. She stayed in that private room for a few minutes, letting the tears flow. At last, she decided to go home. At her doorstep, Stacy immediately ran up. Mom, are you okay? Let's go. We're still going to meet your boss, right? But Amy just knelt down beside her. Before she could say a word, her phone rang. Stephen. She stared at his name on the screen, but let it ring until it went silent. Amy forced a little smile for Stacy. I'm sorry, my love. We can't go out anymore. I'm so sorry. Stacy's face fell. But why, Mom? Her voice trembled. I just can't. Stacy looked closer. Mom, are you crying? Amy squeezed her eyes shut. No, honey, it's just... I'm fine, really. Mrs. Joyce walked over, frowning. What happened? Amy spoke up. I think Stacy and I should go away for a bit, maybe go on a trip. Stacy's face lit up. A vacation? Yes, please. Mrs. Joyce saw the sadness in her daughter's eyes. You mean a vacation from everything? She murmured. Amy nodded. Yes. Let's pack, sweetheart, she said to Stacy. Stacy ran to her room, excited. Amy exhaled shakily, and her mother quietly asked, Should I come with you? Amy shook her head. I just want some time alone with Stacy. We'll visit Dad and the relatives. They miss her, I'm sure. Her mother nodded, though worry flickered across her face. She didn't pry any further, letting Amy keep her secrets for now. By afternoon, Amy was ready to leave with Stacy. Just as they stepped outside the gate, a familiar car screeched to a halt. Stephen jumped out, scanning the yard until he spotted Amy and Stacy. "Amy," he said in a ragged breath, eyes falling to the bags in her hand. "You didn't show up earlier. I was worried. Where are you going?" Stacy stared at him defiantly. "Who are you, and why did you make my mum cry?" Stephen looked taken aback. "Made her cry? No, I would never." Stacy turned up her chin. "Stay away from my mom. We're leaving." Amy gently placed a hand on Stacy's shoulder. "Calm down, sweetie." Then she looked at Stephen, steeling herself. "Stephen, it's true I didn't meet you because something happened." He frowned, stepping closer. "Tell me, did you see my mother?" Amy paled. She tried to brush him off. "No, of course not. Why would I meet her? Anyway, we need to go." He persisted, walking beside her. "Amy, don't do this. Didn't I make it clear? I'm serious about you. I love you." Amy fought back tears as she flagged down a taxi. When it pulled up, she opened the door for Stacy, then turned to him. "All right," she said quietly. "I did meet with your mum. Now I know how impossible this is. I'm just a single mother with no means, and you deserve a woman who has none of my baggage. Don't waste your time on me." She climbed into the taxi and shut the door. He banged on the window, frantic. "Amy, please, don't leave like this." She bit her lip, gave the driver a nod, and the taxi sped away. Stephen stood there, fists clenched, as curious neighbors watched from the sidelines. He slammed his hand against his own car in frustration before driving off. At the mansion, Mrs. Sophia was calmly sipping tea in the living room with Elizabeth when Stephen stormed in. He zeroed in on his mother. "You met with Amy, didn't you? You told her to go away." Mrs. Sophia raised an eyebrow. "Yes, I did. And what of it?" He threw his hands up. "You had no right." Elizabeth looked stunned, unsure what was happening. Mrs. Sophia sighed. "Son, I've always steered you right, haven't I? That woman isn't—" Stephen shook his head. "I let you control my life because I didn't care much before, but not now. What if she never comes back? Mum, there's another possibility you don't know." His eyes darkened. "She has a child who looks suspiciously like me. What if it's my kid?" Mrs. Sophia gaped. "That's impossible. She was pregnant years before you even met her. Don't be ridiculous." He ran a hand over his face. "I'm not sure what happened, but I once spent a drunken night with a woman at a bar I used to frequent. When I woke up, she was gone. I never found her again. There's a chance that was Amy." Mrs. Sophia was too shocked to respond at first. "You really think that child is yours?" "We're finding out," Stephen declared. "I'm getting a DNA test." "That's insane," Mrs. Sophia said. "You're wasting money." Stephen brushed past her. "Then let me waste it. I need to know the truth," he said. Turning to Elizabeth, he added, "I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but there's no chance for us. You should probably go home. I won't marry you." He left the room without another glance, pulling out his phone to start his plan. Stephen arranged a covert DNA test. He had someone discreetly collect a sample of the child's hair from Amy's home. He knew it was illegal, but desperation drove him. Days turned into a week, then two, until he finally held the results in his hands. When he read them, he almost dropped the page. 99.9%, he whispered. Mrs. Sophia looked at the paper, stunned. "So it's true? My grandchild?" Stephen fixed her with a heated stare. "Yes, Mom, your grandchild is Stacy." Mrs. Sophia took a deep breath. "I can't believe it. Well, if that's the case, we need to get the child. We can't let her live over there in that situation." He shook his head. "No, Mom. I'm not getting my child alone. Amy comes with her. I'm taking them both." Amy and Stacy had been away for several weeks. They finally returned home, and Stacy prepared to go back to school. Mrs. Joyce noticed Amy's silence. "Are you okay, child?" she asked. "Your heart still in pain?" Amy didn't reply. She had no news from Stephen and doubted he'd bother with her anymore. Then a voice called from outside. "Hello?" Mrs. Joyce answered the door and immediately stepped back in surprise. Amy hurried over to see what was wrong, and there they were, Mrs. Sophia and Stephen. They weren't alone. A few of Mrs. Sophia's staff stood by too. Mrs. Sophia walked into the small living room and sat down as if she owned the place. Stephen stood quietly, looking intently at Amy. Amy managed, What are you doing here?" Mrs. Sophia sniffed. "I'm here to support my son, that's all. He has something to tell you." Stephen held out an envelope. Amy accepted it with trembling hands. She pulled out the paper inside. Her eyes went wide when she saw it was a DNA test. How? She stammered. Stephen took a breath. "Amy, I'm Stacy's father. Remember that night at the bar, years ago? The DNA proves it." Mrs. Joyce nearly toppled in shock. "What? All these years? It was you?" Mrs. Sophia exhaled sharply. "Yes, that little girl is my grandchild." I've come to see her for myself, and I'll step aside and let my son decide what he wants, now that we know the truth." Mrs. Joyce's protective instincts flared. "So you've come to take Stacy away from Amy?" "That's not happening." Mrs. Sophia raised a hand. "We're not taking anyone, but we do want her in our lives." Amy was speechless. She looked at Stephen. You really are her dad?" He locked eyes with her. "I'm so sorry. If I'd known, I would have taken responsibility years ago. I didn't realize you were that woman, but it's not too late now. Let me stand by you and our child." Just then, Stacy peeked out from behind her mother's legs. She stared at Stephen. "Mama, why is he here again? He made you cry." Stephen's face melted with emotion. He crouched down to Stacy's level, tears pricking his eyes. "Hi," he said softly. I'm your dad." Stacy blinked, then turned to Amy. "Mum, is that true?" Amy choked up. "Yes, sweetie, he's your father." A hush fell over the room. At last, Stacy flung her arms around Stephen, and he began to cry. "I missed you, Dad," she said, even though they'd never truly met before. He clung to her as though she might vanish. "I missed you too, sweetheart," he said in a broken whisper. "I love you and your mom so much. I'm so sorry. Sorry it took this long." Mrs. Sophia watched with glistening eyes. She softened, admitting she only wanted her granddaughter to be part of the family. She even promised not to meddle in Stephen's plans regarding Amy. Everyone came to an understanding that day, and Amy agreed to bring Stacy to live at the estate, at least part-time, so they could bond with Stephen and Mrs. Sophia. The mansion staff were stunned by the revelation. Ava and Bella openly gawked. "All this time, Mr. Stephen was the father of Amy's child?" Ava murmured. Bella clapped her hands to her cheeks. "That is so wild. Mrs. Sophia always wanted a grandchild, and it turns out she's had one for 7 years already." Ava whispered conspiratorially. "See how sweet Mrs. Sophia's being now? Who knew a grandkid could change everything?" Bella grabbed Amy's arm. "Guess you better keep having kids with Mr. Stephen, so his mom stays in a good mood." Amy just laughed and shook her head, though she couldn't deny how kind Mrs. Sophia suddenly was. The older woman doted on Stacy, spoiling her with gifts and constant attention. The days flew by peacefully. One afternoon, Amy was walking in the garden with Ava and Bella when they spotted Stephen waiting in the gazebo. Ava and Bella giggled and ran off, leaving Amy behind. "Hey," Stephen called, "come here." Amy approached, heart thumping. He seized her hand and tugged her against him. "I'm here to collect a debt," he teased. "Debt?" she asked, blinking. He smirked. "You vanished on me for weeks, so your kisses piled up. I plan to collect." She gaped at him. "What else do I owe you?" "A bunch of kisses," he said, voice husky. "But before that, there's something else." She gasped when he dropped to one knee. "Stephen?" He pulled out a small box and opened it, revealing a ring. "Amy, I need you to know I love you. It's not just about us having a child together. I love you for you. I want to spend my life with you. I want you to have my last name. Amy, will you marry me?" Tears welled in Amy's eyes. "Stephen, are you sure?" He nodded firmly. "Absolutely. I've never been more sure." She brushed a tear off her cheek and answered, "Then yes, I'll marry you." Stephen slid the ring onto her finger, stood up, and pulled her into a hug. They both smiled so widely it felt like their faces might split. "Now, can I collect those kisses?" he whispered. Amy laughed. "Yes, go right ahead." She looped her arms around his shoulders, closed her eyes, and their lips met in a deep, tender kiss. They didn't rush into the wedding right away, wanting to get to know each other better and make sure Mrs. Sophia's attitude truly had changed for good. Over the following months, both families grew genuinely close, and Mrs. Sophia indeed became gentle and welcoming, especially towards Stacy. At last, 1 year later, Amy and Stephen were married in a beautiful church ceremony, and so it ended. But truly, it was only the beginning of their new life together. The end. Thank you for watching. This is Mr. Hope. I love you all.